Okay, let's dive right into this explainer on Rudolf Steiner's esoteric cosmology. Today, we're mapping out something truly mind-bending, how the human form actually evolved through three distinct cosmic breaths. We're going to trace our very origins, and no, not through standard biology, but through the profound spiritual lineage of the universe itself. It's a journey where human development is just completely, intricately tied to the massive movements and transformations of the celestial bodies around us.
Now, this quote really sets up the overarching metaphor for our explainer today. The universe itself breathes, right? Esoteric philosophies across the ages have always characterized the deep universe as the rhythmic life of the spirit of the world. So with each cosmic exhalation, a completely new world is created, and a new layer of human existence is forged. And then with each inhalation, the universe transitions into this kind of sleep state, resting up before the next great stage of evolution. We're going to look really closely at three specific breaths of this divine primal spirit.
To deeply understand our journey from pure spirit down into dense physical matter, we'll follow this timeline through three ancient planetary epochs. 1. The Polarian, 2. The Hyperborean, and 3. The Lemurian epoch. During each of these distinct eras, the divine primal spirit exhaled, sending down a specific guiding force, or logos, which fundamentally transformed both the Earth and the human beings living on it.
And if you look at the grand cosmic V-curve of Earth's planetary evolution here, you can see we're starting way up on the top left of that descending curve. At this super early stage, human beings did not look anything like we do today. This whole descent into matter was a gradual, multi-layered process where the spiritual slowly, almost painstakingly, condensed into the physical, step by step, epoch by epoch.
So, we actually start our countdown with the first of these three breaths, which, interestingly enough, is known as the third logos. This happened during the Polarian epoch. At this point in deep cosmic history, the Earth, the Sun, and the Moon were actually still united as one single gigantic cosmic body. The environment wasn't made of rock or water at all, it was just a sea of pure spiritual heat and will. Absolutely no solid matter whatsoever. Esoterically speaking, this period was actually a repetition of an even older stage called Old Saturn, but happening at a higher level, laying down the very first physical mineral foundation for humanity.
Imagine your earliest ancestor. Not as an ape, not as a microbe, but as a transparent, egg-shaped phantom. I know, it's wild to think about. Picture them as these cloud-like, fiery, flooding figures just floating in a universe of pure heat, touching the fire Earth at only a single point. No density, no bones, just a pure physical body of heat floating within a vast universe of heat. Well, let's move to the next stage and see how this builds. We enter the Hyperborean epoch, marked by the second logos, or the second breath. And a massive, truly unimaginable cosmic shift happens here. The sun actually separates from the Earth-Moon mass. Because the sun's force now shines from the outside rather than the inside, we get the dawning of light and the very first incredibly subtle signs of air and water beginning to condense on the Earth. Just as the previous epoch echoed Old Saturn, this era is a repetition of the Old Sun stage. This breath provided the sole personality and the absolute seed of desires.
And look at these delicate plant-like structures. In this totally new environment of light and air, our ancestors acquired an etheric body, a life body. This caused them to actually shine with a delicate body of light. The sources describe them as fluttering flowers of delicate substance. And, incredibly, rather than communicating through speech, these plant-like structures didn't talk. Instead, they vibrated and responded to the music of the spheres as indwelling tones. They were fully alive, growing, and literally resonating with the cosmic harmonies all around them.
Finally, we reach the Lemurian epoch. This is a truly pivotal era. Here, the moon separates from the Earth. With the sun and moon now both acting upon the Earth from the outside, the first logos, the first breath, penetrates the spheres. This is a monumental spirit-soul sacrifice. Basically, the universe is giving up a piece of itself to grant humans their own spark of divine fire and autonomy. It's the enkindling of the ego, that true I consciousness. This marks the grand transition from instinctive cosmic guidance to the very beginning of individual freedom and independent judgment.
You see, before this breath, human beings were essentially empty vessels. Step 1, they merely reflected the universe's light back into space, kind of like a room lined with mirrored spheres reflecting a central lamp. But step 2, when the first logos penetrated these spheres, it was as if that central light flowed directly into the mirrors themselves. It gifted our ancestors their own internal, enlivened spark of light. They stopped just reflecting the divine and actually absorbed it, finally taking possession of their own spiritual nature.
And to ground this, take a look at ancient Lemuria, located south of present-day Asia and India. The Earth's surface here was nothing like the solid ground we walk on today. It was a violent sea of fire filled with intense volcanic activity, massive firestorms, and waxy, soft continents that were constantly shifting around. It was a completely volatile, dramatic environment, perfectly suited for the intense physical transformations humanity was about to undergo.
So during this fiery Lemurian age, our ancestors' physical bodies finally began to densify. The astral body fully integrates here. It's crazy to picture, but their physical forms were still cartilaginous, almost jellyfish-like, just swimming in this dense, watery air. They didn't have a solid bone system yet. However, this is the exact monumental moment in evolution where the sexes divided into male and female, and where the human being achieved an upright posture for the very first time.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the profound geographic split. Because the sun's influence was weakest at the North Pole, beings up there remained totally ethereal. As you can see, there were these 4 apocalyptic group souls above them. The lion representing aggressive human germs, the bull cultivating the physical, the eagle, and the man directing their physical counterparts down below, almost like strings on a marionette. Meanwhile, down at the equator, where the sun and moon's influence was much stronger, humans descended deeply into individualized physical bodies, fully interpenetrated by their newly awakened egos.
But as you might guess, this deep descent at the equator came with a terrible cost. The dense, individualized souls, completely overwhelmed by their new physical forms, fell into immoral passions. The sources explain that because humans actively misused the growth forces of the animal kingdom, they awakened horrendous, volcanic forces of fire. It was literally this intense corrupted energy that triggered massive, catastrophic firestorms, ultimately tearing the entire Lemurian continent apart and sinking it right into the sea.
To survive the destruction of Lemuria, the most balanced and harmonious souls, the ones who hadn't fallen entirely into physical passion, but also hadn't stayed completely aloof in the ethereal north, they migrated away from the equator. They moved to the temperate zones, laying the foundation for the next great epic, Atlantis. Because they maintained this delicate balance, their physical bodies were able to evolve into a harmonious bearer for the ego, setting the entire stage for human self-consciousness exactly as we know it today. Let's just quickly review how this all beautifully builds together. Your current physical form, your life force, and your very I consciousness didn't just appear out of nowhere. They are the direct, layered results of these 3 ancient cosmic breaths. Step 1, the third Logos gave you your physical heat body. Step 2, the second Logos gifted you your etheric life body. And step 3, the first Logos integrated your astral body and sparked your true ego. You are literally a walking, breathing composite of cosmic history.
So the absolutely crucial point to take away from all of this is that our descent into matter, as profound and complex as it's been, is really just one half of the journey. The universe breathes out, and we condense into form. But eventually, the universe will breathe back in. Which leaves us to wonder, as we continue to evolve our consciousness, what unimaginable, spiritualized forms will humanity take when the universe exhales its next great cosmic breath?